welcome to my channel, Traveling with Sam. And right now I'm in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I'm going to head out and take a day trip from Edinburgh, Scotland, and explore outside of the city and check out some other places, and maybe I'll get lucky and see the Loch Ness Monster. So thank you for subscribing, thanks for your likes, thanks for your comments, and if you're ready to go explore beautiful Scotland, then let's go. As I make my way to the meeting spot, checking out the castle here. So very nice morning view before I get to meet my tour guide and other tourists. So very nice. Look at the beautiful sunrise here at the Royal Mile. Alright, going to go inside our transportation for today.
The tree line there is just coming into view. On the left, one of the horses' heads. You'll see the other one in just a moment. These are the Kelpies. So each one of those sculptures is about 30 metres high. They weigh about 300 tonnes each. They're hollow, you can climb up inside them. It's just basically plates of metal welded onto a frame. As you can climb up inside them, they light them up. Created by an artist called Andy Scott. So Andy Scott does a lot of equine artwork, and for that reason people call him a bit of a one-trick pony. Actually, is very good at what he does. Be saltwater, they can be sea lochs. So that's the difference. You don't get sea lakes, but you do get sea lochs. Anyway.
Our first stop, called Calendar, and basically just gonna walk around a little bit, maybe grab a coffee or a quick breakfast, and it's like the gateway or the entryway to the Highlands here in Scotland. So you learned, and I learned as well, some information about some of the history, some of the people, some of the monuments as we were passing by, as well as listening to some like Scottish music. So now just walking around, hopefully the weather will stay, fingers crossed, as I just take it all in and enjoy my day here in Scotland. So here's like the main street. Bakeries and cafes are starting to open. Some are way more popular than others, as you can see this line over here on the right. A lot of people heading into that place, so it must be very good, but I don't think I'll have enough time to actually go over there because we're not staying here for too long. So I might just find another place. So here is like the main square here, the church. So one of the oldest towns here in Scotland. And as I mentioned, Main Street, the monument here. And going to check out the Main Street Bakery, have a little breakfast, and then venture on to the Highlands of Scotland. Okay, got mushroom and chicken pie, as well as carrot cake, and some local drink, cherry flavor. So this is my breakfast. You can set up base here and go on different hikes and explore the area. Go from the lowlands to the highlands. It's time to get back on the van and head on to our next stop.
Alrighty, so there's quite a few lochs in this national park. Of course, Loch Lomond, it's in the name of the national park, is within the boundaries of this park. We can't see it from here, it's too far away. The park itself is about 800 square miles, so it's, we're not going to see everything. This one over here to the left, this is Loch Lubnaig. It's known as the Crooked Loch, just because it's got a bit of a crooked shape to it, that's all. So Loch Lomond is actually the third deepest loch in Scotland. Not the deepest, not the second deepest, but the third deepest. But it does have the largest surface area of all of the lochs in Scotland. So that's its claim to fame, if you like. A few other lochs over these mountains, you can't see them again, but you've got one called Loch Venator, another one called Loch Achray, and one called Loch Katrine. So Loch Katrine's quite well known. There was a very famous Scottish author who spent some time at Loch Katrine. His name was Walter Scott. So there's a steamship that sails across Loch Katrine, and it's called the Sir Walter Scott. They named the boat after the author who spent some time there. Now, do you familiar at all? Well, I'm not sure about that answer, unfortunately, because that bridge over there has absolutely nothing at all to do with Harry Potter. Nothing. You take lots and lots of photographs, and then when you get home, you can show those photographs to everyone back home and say, it is the Harry Potter Bridge. They won't be any the wiser. They'll not know, folks. You can fool them. Anyway, sorry. Lies the entrance to Glencoe. So up there to the left is the Glencoe ski range. So there's 5 ski ranges in Scotland. So when there's a bit more snow, there isn't really enough snow at the moment, but when there is plenty of snow, you can go skiing up there. We'll just try and squeeze through there, yes. There we go. Even when there's no snow, you can still go up the mountain. There's a chair lift that'll take you up the side of the mountain if you want to do that. Not today, obviously, we don't have time, but if you want to come back on your own, you could do that. So as I say, this U-shape in front of us, this is the entrance to Glencoe. The reason I was playing that tune was because scenes from Skyfall, which of course that song, is from, and it's called, were filmed here actually on this road. So if any of you, I'm sure some of you have seen the movie Skyfall. Has anyone seen it? Yeah. Good. So obviously in the movie there's a scene where kind of Bond, played by an English actor called Daniel Craig, and his boss, who's M, that's her code name, was played by Dame Judi Dench. They're heading up towards the Scottish Highlands, where Bond's childhood home is at a house called Skyfall. And you see them actually come along the road and stopping back there and looking into the entrance of Glencoe. You see Daniel Craig get out and he looks to the entrance. And the road that they drive along is this one here. A wee bit further down this road, and on the left, you take a left turn, and if you follow the road all the way down for about, I think it's about 5 miles, maybe a wee bit more, you actually come to where they filmed scenes for the house Skyfall. Now, the house Skyfall is not a real house, it never was. It's just a set, and in fact it looks CGI to me. But it wasn't real, which is maybe just as well, because in the movie, if you haven't seen it, they blow it up at the end. The big helicopter gunship just comes along and blows it up. You're part of this program, the 00 program. So every spy has a number, and his number was 007. So the books were all about his adventures. Books were very popular, and eventually they were made into movies. I think they made the first one in about the 1960s, but they're still making them today. And as I say, one of the more recent ones, it's maybe 5 or 6 years old now, maybe more, was Skyfall. And scenes for Skyfall were filmed on this road, in this area. Anyway, so apparently when they were filming they were casting for the original Bond movie, which was Dr. No, they auditioned a Scottish actor by the name of Sean Connery, and apparently Fleming's wife or girlfriend or whatever she was at the time, I don't know, but she was so impressed with Sean that she convinced Ian Fleming to very slightly change the backstory to the character. So initially Bond was going to have an English father and a Swiss mother, but he decided to change it. So Bond had a Scottish father, still had a Swiss mother, but that was the wee change that he made, and that's where you get the connection to Scotland. And that's why Bond's childhood home is meant to be here in the Highlands of Scotland.
Stopping here in Glencoe for a minute. Beautiful scenery and interesting stories. Not as dark so far as previous edition of my channel, of my travels. Enjoying the Highlands and enjoying this tour very much so far. Scotland has a lot of beauty and a lot of interesting things to see as well.
Anyway, so one of the clan chiefs who left it very late to go to sign the oath was the clan chief of the MacDonalds of Glencoe. So he waited until the day before the deadline before he left Glencoe to head for Fort William. That's where he believed he could sign the oath. So Fort William isn't very far away from here, folks. It's maybe, I don't know, 20 miles maybe from here. It's not that far. Anyway, he leaves the day before. He arrives on the day of the deadline, but when he arrives at Fort William, he is told that he's too late. The judge, who needs to be there to sign the oath, to witness it, whatever, he's already left, and he's headed to a place called Inverary. So the clan chief of the MacDonalds leaves Fort William and chases after this sheriff, whatever, to sign the oath. He eventually catches up with him at Inverary, where he is allowed to sign the oath. But by this time, the deadline has come and gone, so he has signed the oath late. Okay, folks, for the Harry Potter fans, this isn't a joke this time, honest, this is genuine. But over there on the right, you'll see lots of trees. Over there, some houses. That's where they filmed scenes for Hagrid's hut. So do you remember Hagrid? He was the big hairy one, played by a Scottish actor called Robbie Coltrane. Robbie's sadly dead now, but Robbie played Hagrid. And Hagrid's hut, scenes for Hagrid's hut and was it the Forbidden Forest? Something like that. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but if you are, you'll know. Were filmed over there. Those scenes filmed over there. Over to the left, scenes were filmed for the Quidditch World Cup. So that that game where they flew about on broomsticks. You sound like you've done it, sir. Have you? No, that's a girl. So the clan chief of MacDonald's chases after the sheriff, catches up with him in Inverary, signs the oath, but he signed it late. So when William and Mary find out that he has signed the oath late, they decide to make an example out of the MacDonalds. So it's not that clear why they chose the MacDonalds, because other clans had signed late, others had also been involved in this 1689 uprising, in which the MacDonalds were involved. They were involved in this uprising in 1689. But they chose the MacDonalds, chose to make an example out of them. So not long after the clan chief of the MacDonalds arrives back in Glencoe, a regiment of British soldiers were dispatched from Fort William. So, I see it, they were British soldiers, folks. They weren't just English. They were British, so there were Scots amongst them. In fact, the commanding officer was a Scot. He was a Campbell, of Clan Campbell. And many others in the regiment were Campbells as well. So they were dispatched from Fort William with orders to collect taxes from the MacDonalds of Glencoe. But the commanding officer was also given a set of sealed orders. And he was told not to open these orders until the morning of the 13th of February 1692. So when the soldiers arrive in Glencoe, at that time, Scotland and probably the rest of the world were really in the throes of a mini ice age. There have been massive drops in temperature, so Glencoe was actually very deep in snow at the time. Awful weather conditions when the soldiers arrive here, and the conditions are so bad that the soldiers seek Highland hospitality with the MacDonalds. So Highland hospitality is basically, if you've got a stranger comes to your door in need of something, so in need of shelter or food or water, whatever, you're really obliged to take them in and help them out. So the soldiers turn up and request Highland hospitality with the MacDonalds. And of course the MacDonalds oblige. Don't want to get a hole dug in the side of the bus. So the MacDonalds take them in and they give them shelter, food and drink, a bed, dry clothes, just generally look after them. But on the morning of the 13th of February, the commanding officer, he gets up and he opens these sealed orders, and this is like 5 o'clock in the morning, so it's like pitch dark, and then he gathers the regiment together and he reads out the orders, and what the orders instruct the soldiers to do is to kill every one of the MacDonalds under the age of 70. So this is to include the clan chief, his wife, Lady MacDonald, and all of their sons, and everyone else under the age of 70. They're all to be put to the sword. So when the orders are read out, many of the soldiers don't want to take part, you know, they don't want to kill these people they've been sheltering with, but they don't have a lot of choice. Going to pause there, folks. We know now that Linney. So Loch Linney is a sea loch, and Loch Linney is actually one of 4 lochs that we're going to pass on our way towards, or including and on our way towards our destination, which of course is Loch Ness. This town that we're entering is Fort William. So we're just on the outskirts. We're starting to come into the centre of Fort William now. So Fort William is the end point of the West Highland Way. So do you remember that walkway, that hike that we were talking about, that some of the ladies at the back there have actually done, or one of the ladies has? So that hike ends here at Fort William. This is the end point of the West Highland Way. Fort William is also the start point of a feature of the landscape known as the Great Glen. So I mentioned already, Glen, it's a Gaelic word, it just means a valley. So they call it the Great Glen because it's just a big valley, basically. It runs from here at Fort William on the west coast of Scotland, right across Scotland in a kind of a diagonal slash to the east coast, to Inverness. So Inverness being a city in the Highlands of Scotland. It's the only city within the Highland region of Scotland. So I mentioned that this loch here, it's a sea loch, this is Loch Linney. This is the first of the lochs in what's known as the Great Glen. We'll then pass by a loch called Lochs. We'll then come to one called Lochs. And then finally we'll arrive at our destination, which of course is Loch Ness. All these lochs are within the Great Glen. Goes up, it's furthest over to the left. That is Ben Nevis. But I can see, as I looked over there briefly, the summit is shrouded in cloud at the moment. So we're not going to pull in here at the Commander Memorial, which is just up here, coming up on the left, where the statue is at the moment. Just time-wise as well, we're better to keep going, and we'll pull in on the way back, and hopefully by that time, maybe some of this cloud might have kind of moved over, you know, and we'll hopefully be lucky and see the summit of Ben Nevis, the highest mountain in the UK. So there.
Okay, we've made it to our final destination, Fort August, and going to walk around here a little bit and then have a cruise for the main attraction, the Loch Ness. And as I mentioned earlier, hopefully we'll be able to see the Loch Ness Monster if we're really, really lucky. So fingers crossed. So have some free time before our boat cruise. So just gonna take in the beauty. So satisfying lunch. Now just gonna continue walking around for a little bit. Still not ready for the cruise to start. So just gonna walk over this bridge, go over to the other side. As you can see over here, the Loch Ness. Maybe the Loch Ness Monster is waiting for us out there. So here you have where we were before, Fort William, or passed through it. Up here, August. Goes all the way over there. here flattens out for I don't know how far, but probably take a kayak or canoe, as well as you can see some boats around the area. It's a nice looking house over there. Cute little archway. Bank house here with Mary Poppins, if you're familiar with that movie. Alright, time for the cruise. 50-minute round trip cruise, so gonna get on board.
The first recorded sighting of a mysterious creature in the Loch was in 565 AD by St. Columba, a Scots-Irish missionary who was preaching Christianity to the native Picts in the area. The story was probably just a parable to show the power of the Church of the Christians. Sightings of a big fish occurred in the 19th and early 20th century, but in 1933 the story suddenly exploded upon the world with a series of sightings and photographs. The most famous picture, that of a graceful neck protruding from the water, turned out to have been faked, but it will always remain the iconic image of the Loch Ness Monster. Scientists have shown that long-necked animals could not live in the cold water, owing to its temperature and the lack of an adequate food supply. Some will be mistakes, damping birds, and even deliberate invention. The vast majority of sightings are of a single hump, and those may be large living creatures. Sonar confirms strong contacts in the deep water, and they may be fish rather than air breathers. One suggestion is that sturgeon may have been introduced to the river system, and it is known they can live for centuries and grow to enormous proportions. The world record being 8.3 meters and over 240 years old. It might not be a very romantic monster, but at least it could be a real creature.
Some goats.
In the springtime and the summertime, they climb the very steep rock
Yes,
faces.
so
Take
take away the human equation. Obviously, and you can say the monster.
So even if we don't see it, it's still very beautiful, peaceful. Has an eerie feel with all the mist, but it's still very nice out here. Different look at the area. Here's a great view of Loch Ness.
Man-made island, probably built around the time of Christ. In the early 20th century, one of the monks from Port Augustus used an early diving suit to study its construction, which is mainly substantial trees crisscrossing each other for foundations. It was constructed as a defence structure. Some Picts built homes on islands with access walkways to shore. Not only did these provide protection from wild animals and easy access for fishing, but they were also very easy to defend. If an enemy were attacking, firstly they would find it difficult to gain access, and in most cases would just steal some animals and move on.
As we make our way back to the starting point, so sadly we didn't see the monster today. Alright, so time to head back to the van and make our way back towards Edinburgh, but taking a different route, so hopefully we can see some other cool things and have some other spectacular views and maybe hear some more interesting stories, history. Time to get back on the van. Little bonus spot.
I don't understand that.
So cute. Alright, another stop. The Nevis mountain range. The tallest one being Ben Nevis, but can't quite see the summit because of the clouds. Hopefully it'll move in the next few minutes while we're here. Tallest mountain in the UK. So here is the Commando Monument. Represent and remember commandos from World War II. Most visited monument in the UK. Still very beautiful despite the clouds. So here's the sign, Commando Memorial. Alright, our final place or stop before we head back to Edinburgh and call it a successful trip. So here we are at, if I can pronounce it, Lochs, just a small little town. This really has one street. So here's a different kind of restaurant, Bangladeshi and Indian, like Bengali food. So just walking up to the main street, just kind of stretch my legs. Not really need anything, but just walk around. Looks like a cute little town. So we got a fish and chips place over here. Very cute little houses. Yeah, very, very cute town. Really love the architecture, and looks like they have, like, which I haven't seen before, like many chimneys on top, or I don't know if it's decoration or there actually are chimneys, like multiple ones on like all the roofs here. Very interesting. Made it safely back to Edinburgh. It's a great tour, very fun day. Learned a lot. Saw a lot, and nice to get out of the city and be with nature to see the Highlands and to see all the different Lochs. So that was also nice. really fun day. So heading back towards my hotel and going to go to a restaurant, have some dinner, and then wrap up this action-packed, long, but very fun and memorable day. So just around the corner and block over this restaurant, Time for Thai. So I'll switch it up and have some Asian cuisine. Some pad Thai with prawns and other seafood from here in Scotland, as well as some jasmine rice. So let's dig in. Just what I needed. Very fresh ingredients and very delicious. So thank you for watching this video, for spending some time, for subscribing, for liking, and for your comments. And so thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, thank you for traveling with Sam. Good night.